Hey guys, welcome to the Bitcoin Fortress podcast, helping you increase your financial freedom. This is episode 118, recorded here on June 2nd, 2024. This podcast is for entertainment only and not investing advice, so please do your own homework. Well, we got quite a bit of top Bitcoin news this week, but first, we will start with the market update and outlook. After a 5-week win streak, the S&P 500 logged its first weekly decline on Friday, capping a holiday-shortened week and marking an end to an eventful May. Highlights of the week include the latest financials from Salesforce, which sent the enterprise software giant's shares sharply lower on weaker-than-expected results and guidance. On Friday, the Federal Reserve's preferred inflation gauge, the core PCE price index, met consensus for April despite a bigger than anticipated easing in consumer spending growth. However, major indices recorded sharp gains in May, with Dow Industrials crossing the 40,000 mark for the first time. For the week, the S&P 500 slipped 0.5%, the Nasdaq fell 1.1%, and the blue chip Dow lost 1%. Looking ahead, Wall Street will be zeroed in on the May jobs report this week, which hits Friday. The update on non-farm payrolls will be the last one before the Federal Reserve meets on June 11th and 12th amid growing uncertainty on the timing of rate cuts. The April PCE inflation report released Friday showed the Fed's official target, the 12-month core PCE, came in at 2.8%, steady from March's reading. Things are a little bit different across the Atlantic, where the European Central Bank is expected to cut on June 6th. June 6th is also the 80th anniversary of D-Day. The earnings schedule for next week includes reports from Hewlett-Packard Enterprise, Lululemon, and NEO. The event calendar is loaded with conferences including NAREIT Week and Computex Taiwan. Walmart will also be in the spotlight with a shareholder meeting and its traditional associates celebration scheduled on separate days. Investors will also be watching NVIDIA just ahead of the 10-for-1 stock split that becomes effective after the close on Friday. All right, jumping into the top Bitcoin news. First article here is from No Bullshit Bitcoin. This was posted on May 31st. New opt-in version of chat control mass surveillance bill is making its way through the EU Council. Of course, we like to cover freedom and liberty topics, and so this one just floated to the top of my list. According to the proposal, users of applications with a communication function would need to agree, either through terms and conditions or pop-up messages, that all images and videos they send will be automatically scanned and potentially reported to the EU and the police. To enable this, monitoring backdoors would be integrated into previously secure end-to-end encrypted messaging services. The scanning algorithms would make use of, quote, artificial intelligence to identify known child sexual abuse materials and new images and videos deemed suspicious. If a user does not consent to the scanning of their private photos and videos, they could still use the service for sending text messages, but would lose the ability to share images and videos. The scanning of text messages and audio communications has been removed from the draft legislation. Communications involving employees of security authorities and the military would also be exempt in this version of chat control. During the last discussion on 24th May, the Council Legal Service made it clear that an indiscriminate chat control scanning of non-suspects is still envisioned and remains a violation of fundamental rights. Nevertheless, most EU governments are determined to go ahead. EU governments plan to continue their discussions on June 4th, writes Breyer in his blog. Molvad recently published a detailed blog post which highlights how the European Commission tried to introduce total surveillance of all EU citizens via chat control. Under the slogan, "Think of the children," the European Commission tried to introduce total surveillance of all EU citizens. When the scandal was revealed, it turned out that American tech companies and security services had been involved in the bill, generally known as chat control, and that the whole thing had been directed by completely different interests. Now comes the next attempt. New battering rams have been brought out with the Going Dark initiative. But the ambition is the same: to install state spyware on every European cell phone and computer, was stated in the Post. In a renewed push for mass surveillance of Europeans, Europol recently published a joint declaration with European police chiefs. They called on industry and governments to take action against the implementation of end-to-end encryption, arguing that this technology hinders law enforcement from obtaining and using evidence against criminals. Our homes are becoming more dangerous than our streets as crime is moving online. To keep our society and people safe, we need this digital environment to be secured. Tech companies have a social responsibility to develop a safer environment where law enforcement and justice can do their work. If police lose the ability to collect evidence, our society will not be able to protect people from becoming victims of crime, stated Europol's executive director, Catherine DeBall. Well, once again, it's all about safety and security. And what do we sacrifice? Freedom. And, they like to pick on the, whatever the popular thing is, whether it's terrorists, drug dealers, criminals. Now it's child porn. I mean, there's just a million different reasons why everything needs to be censored and reviewed by the government. And you have to realize that this is all a scam. So anyway, hopefully this doesn't get too far, but I don't know. It sounds like the government's going to do something to help protect everyone. So if you believe that, then I don't know what to tell you. That the government's looking out for your best interest. Don't know what to say. Next up, Bitcoin.com. This article was posted yesterday. Senate urged to pass landmark crypto bill after Biden vetoes resolution to overturn SEC rules. The cryptocurrency industry is dismayed after President Joe Biden unexpectedly vetoed, I think he said he was going to. Anyway, the resolution to overturn the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission's Staff Accounting Bulletin 121. Both the Senate and the House of Representatives approved this resolution. This veto has ignited widespread concern among industry stakeholders who claim the bulletin enforces overly restrictive guidelines on the custody of digital assets. Consequently, calls from lawmakers in both the Senate and House of Representatives have intensified, urging the passage of the landmark crypto bill, the Financial Innovation and Technology for the 21st Century Act. Several lawmakers have taken to social media platform X to voice their concerns regarding Biden's veto. Congressman French Hill expressed his disappointment on Friday, stating, "Bipartisan votes in Congress should have sent a strong signal to the Biden administration that their SAB 121 is misguided and should be nullified. Senate action on FIT 21 is crucial. I remain committed to passing this landmark legislation into law." The U.S. House of Representatives approved the FIT 21 Act, which establishes a regulatory framework for crypto assets, on May 22nd, despite opposition from SEC Chair Gary Gensler in the White House. Hill introduced the bill in July last year, along with Representatives Glenn G.T. Thompson, Dusty Johnson, Tom Emmer, and Warren Davidson. Congressman Patrick McHenry co-sponsored the legislation. Commenting on Biden's veto, Senator Cynthia Lummis said, "I will not stand idly by as this admin attempts to skirt the law, and I will continue to fight to promote financial innovation and key protections for crypto assets this admin seems hell-bent on stifling." Representative Patrick McHenry opined the president's veto weakens protections for consumers in digital asset markets and upends decades of custody rules. By rejecting the bipartisan consensus of Congress, The administration is doubling down on its failed approach. Senate action on FIT 21 is more urgent than ever. Majority Whip Tom Emmer, who has criticized the Biden administration for weaponizing the legal system and convicting former U.S. President Donald Trump, opined, under Joe Biden, things have only gotten worse. He detailed that illegal immigrants are invading our borders, families are struggling, and chaos has erupted across the globe. The congressman added, and where has the Biden administration focus been? Weaponizing the legal system against their political opponents. So a lot of politicking over this one, but we will see where it goes. It seems like Biden's going to have to give in at some point because it's become a political issue now, and the crypto lobby is very loud and is being heard. And of course, we'll talk about this next. This article is from Bitcoin Magazine. This was posted yesterday. Trump becomes first president to accept Bitcoin Lightning payments for campaign donations. So now Trump is embracing the Bitcoin community. I think we talked about this a little bit last week. He wants to free Ross Ulbricht. He wants to make sure that self-custody is preserved. He wants to battle off the Elizabeth Warren and her legion of her anti-crypto army, all this good stuff. It's all, politicians. Can't trust them. Don't trust them. But it's always good to hear things go in the right direction, at least from a Bitcoin fundamental perspective, which is preserving, self-custody first and foremost. In a historic move, Donald Trump has become the first American president to accept Bitcoin Lightning Network payments for campaign donations. The announcement marks a significant step in the integration of Bitcoin into mainstream politics, highlighting Trump's commitment to advancing the future of Bitcoin in the United States. Trump's campaign has partnered with OpenNode, a leading Bitcoin and Lightning Network infrastructure provider, to facilitate these donations. Supporters can now contribute to Trump's 2024 presidential campaign using Bitcoin via the Lightning Network, a technology designed to enable fast and low-cost transactions. OpenNode is proud to partner with Anodot to bring Bitcoin into the political donation process, OpenNode told Bitcoin Magazine. This is a perfect marriage of OpenNode's leading Bitcoin tech stack and Anodot's robust platform for political and nonprofit organizations. The Trump campaign's adoption of our solution is a powerful proof point of how political campaigns and nonprofits across the country can seamlessly accept Bitcoin donations. Last weekend, while speaking at a Libertarian Party convention, Trump emphasized his dedication to fostering a Bitcoin-friendly environment in the U.S., stating that he will ensure that the future of crypto and Bitcoin will be made in the USA, and that he will support the right to self-custody for the nation's 50 million crypto holders. Trump's support for Bitcoin extends beyond campaign donations. During the same speech, President Trump made a historical commitment to commute the sentence of Ross Ulbricht, the founder of Silk Road and an early Bitcoin pioneer, to time served if elected president. He's already served 11 years, he said. We're going to get him home. Being the first president in U.S. history to accept Bitcoin for campaign donations underscores Trump's broader strategy to appeal to the over 50 million cryptocurrency enthusiasts and investors in the country. By aligning himself with the Bitcoin community, the leading presidential candidate has further positioned himself as a forward-thinking leader who embraces technological advancements and financial freedom. Of course, he did flip-flop because he said he hated it before, but yeah, who cares? Just yesterday, current U.S. President Joe Biden vetoed pro-Bitcoin legislation that would have been a huge win for Bitcoin, further showing his reluctance to support the industry. The bill vetoed by Biden would have allowed highly regulated financial firms to custody Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. And then it says, for more information on Trump's Bitcoin campaign donations, there's a link in the article. So again, it's Bitcoin cryptocurrency is definitely a political topic in the United States, and if nothing else, it certainly gives greater visibility to it, and the fact that again, you kind of have to take with a grain of salt anything that a politician says, because they'll say whatever they need to say to get elected. But Biden obviously doesn't seem to be too worried about getting reelected because he's definitely not taking the right approach here, in my opinion. Next up is from No Bullshit Bitcoin. This was posted on May 28th. Samourai Dev's first court hearing. Prosecution promises substantial evidence. TDev still in Portugal. The prosecution indicated that it is almost ready to share evidence for the trial and is prepared to proceed, whether or not both defendants are present, reported Frank Corva. The prosecution mentioned they are still extracting data from Rodriguez's confiscated electronic devices, but will provide significant discovery from the information obtained so far. They also noted that Rodriguez has yet to hand over a 2 terabyte hard drive without specifying its contents. The judge ruled that Rodriguez would remain under house arrest and scheduled the next hearing for September 4th, 2024. According to Corva, Rodriguez's attorneys plan to file a motion to dismiss the indictment, arguing that non-custodial service providers should not be classified as money transmitters because users maintain full control of their assets. Only Rodriguez and his attorney, Michael Kraus, attended the hearing. Hill remains under arrest in Portugal and is yet to respond to an extradition request from U.S. government. Lola L33TZ, an independent journalist at The Rage, recently sent an inquiry to the Portuguese police requesting more information about Hill's status, but no useful information has been received. I just called the Policia Judiciaria and their stonewalling is insane. After identifying myself as a journalist, the officer's tone completely changed. She told me I was not entitled to any information and even refused to give her name. I have never experienced anything like this, said the journalist. SNDY gave some infos today, but it's definitely below expectations for press freedom in a EU country, especially as I don't see how simply giving the same info as New York gave today would jeopardize the extradition process. And this was the email, I guess. Dear sirs, we acknowledge receipt of your email, which has been given our full attention. After checking, no results were obtained. Best regards. A police force of the people and for the people, security, equality, respect, and trust. Okay, well, this one we'll have to continue to watch because some of the arguments that they made, like, heat can get transferred from a stove to a pan to an egg without physically, passing or something like that. I mean, it's just ridiculous what they're trying to argue here with respect to the mixing software. So this one again will be one that we'll want to pay attention to. Next, also from No Bullshit Bitcoin, this was posted on June 1st. Now we're going to get in a little bit into why we don't hold our Bitcoin on exchanges. Japanese DMM Bitcoin exchange hacked for 4,503 Bitcoin. Please be assured that we will procure the equivalent amount of Bitcoin equivalent to the outflow with the support of the group companies and guarantee the full amount, said the exchange. So DMM Bitcoin, a Japanese cryptocurrency exchange, said unauthorized 4,503 Bitcoin, $305 million leaked out of its wallets. The attack likely involved using a poisoned address to trick at least one key holder into unknowingly signing 4,503 Bitcoin to the attacker. The exchange also announced special measures to avoid further unauthorized outflows and restricted all spot buys on the platform. Japanese yen withdrawals may take more time than usual, added the platform. According to chain surveillance firm Elliptic, the hack constitutes the 8th largest crypto theft in history in fiat terms. On-chain analyst Mononaut shared some insights into the details of the hack, finding that the stolen funds were sent to an address that matches the first 5 and last 2 characters of the address DMM routinely uses to handle withdrawals from this wallet. Classic address poisoning attack, right? Address poisoning, also known as address spoofing, exploits user carelessness and haste. An attacker sends funds from an address they control designed to closely resemble the victim's address, hoping the victim will mistakenly copy and paste the wrong address from their transaction history. This was a 2 of 3 multi-sig holding hundreds of millions of dollars of Bitcoin. DMM has never overpaid like that before from this wallet, he added. Unless DMM is completely insane, each of those keys will be controlled by a separate person. So imagine you gain access to just one of those keys but want to steal all the money, which leaves some obvious questions. How did the attacker get access to even one key? And how did they know who and how to contact to secure the crucial second signature? I suspect we'll never know. Very interesting. So again, don't hold your Bitcoin on exchanges. There's a lesson there. Along the same lines, this is also from No Bullshit Bitcoin. This was posted yesterday. Gemini Earn users received 2.18 billion of their assets in kind. Winklevoss call Genesis old-fashioned financial fraud. On Wednesday, initial Earn distributions, approximately 97% of the digital assets owed Gemini Earn users by Genesis as of the suspension date, which was November 16th, 2022, were distributed and deposited to their Gemini accounts. The initial distributions are in kind, meaning that users who lent 1 Bitcoin in the Earn program will receive 1 Bitcoin back. In order to ensure successful resolution, Gemini has also contributed $50 million to the Earn users' recovery. Users can expect to receive remaining asset balance within the next 12 months, the exchange said. It's important to note that the Genesis bankruptcy was not a crypto problem. It was old-fashioned financial fraud compounded by a lack of regulatory clarity, Cameron and Tyler Winklevoss said in the announcement. We are thrilled that we've been able to achieve this recovery for you. We recognize the hardship caused by this lengthy process and appreciate your continued support and patience throughout, added the exchange's co-founders. So a rare happy ending here, but Gemini Earn was very tempting because they offered you yield on your Bitcoin, but what ended up happening was you gave up custody to your Bitcoin to them, and then they would pay you, I don't know, 1% or something like that in Bitcoin every month. And so you're happy. You're like, great, I'm earning yield on my Bitcoin. Well, then everything blows up and then you can't get your Bitcoin back. And fortunately, they were able to manage it so that they could get people's Bitcoin back. I think probably because they were selling GBTC that they owned, that Genesis owned. And then and they took the proceeds of the sales of GBTC and bought Bitcoin, and then built up their stack of Bitcoin so that they could pay back the borrowers. So again, a rare good outcome. Although I guess you get your Bitcoin back, so you're happy. And the Bitcoin's worth more now than it was a couple of years ago. So I guess that's a good thing too. And finally, Mount Gox, which was the sort of OG of the exchange problem, is now getting ready to distribute assets back to people who had accounts there. This was from Crypto Potato. This was posted on June 1st. Mt. Gox Bitcoin moves will cause no immediate selling pressure, according to CryptoQuant. Of course, that's what everybody's worried about, is that when these coins end up back in the hands of the people who originally put them on the exchange or acquired them on the exchange, will they look to sell them? The 138,000 Bitcoin transfers were executed between Mt. Gox's trustee addresses and are not a sign that creditor repayments have begun. Analysts from the market intelligence platform CryptoQuant say the recent Bitcoin moves by the defunct crypto exchange Mt. Gox are no cause for alarm and would cause no immediate selling pressure on the digital asset. According to the latest weekly report from the analytics firm, the transfers were executed between Mt. Gox's trustee addresses and are not a sign that creditor repayments have begun. On May 27th, on-chain analysts noticed a movement of 138,000 Bitcoin, worth roughly $9.4 billion at Bitcoin's trading value at the time, from wallets holding them since 2018. CryptoQuant said the transfers happened within 5 hours, sparking concerns amid the crypto community about the effect of such transactions. The cryptocurrencies were moved via 7 different transactions with volumes ranging between 4,000 and 32,000 Bitcoin. The whole stash was initially moved to a single address before being distributed to 3 different addresses. At the time of writing, the addresses held 47,000 Bitcoin each, 47,400 Bitcoin each. The crypto community speculated that the transfers marked the onset of distributions to Mt. Gox creditors. Crypto Potato reported that Bitcoin lost 4% of its value as news of the transfer spread. Community members also raised concerns about the asset's price slumping further if the exchange's creditors decided to liquidate their holdings immediately after they received them. Contrary to what the majority of the community thinks, the new addresses that received the Bitcoins belong to Mt. Gox's rehabilitation trustee, which is the attorney managing the creditor's repayment process. An announcement dated May 28th informed that the exchange has neither begun making repayments to creditors nor sold any Bitcoin or cryptocurrency in that regard. The type of transfers where an entity consolidates a large amount of Bitcoin scattered in several addresses into a few addresses seems to be the prelude of the trustee initiating repayments to creditors under the rehabilitation plan. How long it would take for the repayments to start is yet to be seen, CryptoQuant stated. Hence, CryptoQuant analysts believe the transactions would cause no immediate sell pressure for Bitcoin as the assets in question are not yet available to the open market. And and who knows when the creditors actually get the Bitcoin, what they choose to do with it, whether they want to hang on to it or whether they sell it. Won't matter much in the long run. I mean, if they do sell it, it could drive the price down, but then people will swoop in and buy the dip, especially people with a long-term perspective. So, much ado about nothing. But again, another reason why you don't want to have your Bitcoin on an exchange, because this money's been sitting out there for a long, long time, and nobody's been able to have access to it, which sucks. So that's why use self-custody. Next up is from Bitcoin.com news. This was posted 3 days ago. Companies in 2 capital markets reportedly in negotiations to implement MicroStrategy's Bitcoin business model. As cryptocurrency gets institutionalized, more companies seek to add Bitcoin to their reserves and make it a key tool for their operational plans. David Bailey, CEO of Bitcoin Magazine and crypto aide of the Trump campaign, has confirmed companies in 2 foreign countries are interested in implementing this new business model pioneered by Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy in the US. Bailey stated, "We're currently in negotiations to run the MicroStrategy MetaPlanet playbook in 2 more foreign capital markets. This strategy is going to take off globally." While Bailey did not identify these 2 capital markets, he did declare that Korea was not one of them. MicroStrategy, led by Saylor, implemented a model that puts Bitcoin as a fundamental part of its operations by not only holding it as a reserve asset, but also operating in the way of making Bitcoin acquisitions one of the priorities of the company, even issuing debt for this goal. The premise is that Bitcoin will surpass the value of fiat currencies and that in time, debt will be paid off with Bitcoin earnings. Consequently, this allows MicroStrategy and the companies adopting this business model to become Bitcoin proxies, allowing stockholders to have an indirect bet on Bitcoin. MicroStrategy held 214,400 Bitcoin as of April 26, 2024. Other companies that are already following Saylor's playbook, MetaPlanet, a Tokyo-listed public company, recently unveiled a plan to use Bitcoin as a reserve asset to protect against the weakness of the Japanese yen. Hey, that's pretty smart. Since April, MetaPlanet has acquired 117.72 Bitcoin and has approved a new purchase of 250 million yen, approximately $1.6 million worth of Bitcoin. And then last, from BitcoinNews.com, this article was posted on May 28th. Argentina looks to El Salvador for Bitcoin adoption insights. In a significant move toward embracing Bitcoin, Argentina is turning to El Salvador, the pioneering nation that made history by adopting Bitcoin as legal tender in 2021. This could signal an acceleration in Argentina Bitcoin adoption strategies. High-ranking officials from Argentina's National Securities Commission have engaged in detailed discussions with their counterparts in El Salvador to learn from their groundbreaking experience with Bitcoin. This collaboration marks a crucial step for Argentina as it navigates the complex landscape of Bitcoin regulation and adoption. Argentina has been increasingly focused on integrating digital assets into its financial system, particularly in the face of severe economic challenges, including high inflation and currency depreciation. CNV has been at the forefront of this initiative, working to develop a robust regulatory framework for Bitcoin. In a series of meetings, CNV President Roberto Silva and Vice President Patricia Boedo met with Juan Carlos Reyes, the president of El Salvador's National Commission for Digital Assets, or CNAD. These discussions were aimed at understanding El Salvador's strategies and regulatory approaches to Bitcoin adoption. The adoption of Bitcoin as legal tender positioned El Salvador as a leader in the Bitcoin space. The country's experience has provided valuable insights into the benefits and challenges of integrating Bitcoin into a national economy. Roberto Silva of CNV praised El Salvador's progress, stating El Salvador has emerged as one of the leading countries not only in the use of Bitcoin, but also in the broader world of crypto assets. El Salvador, led by President Nayib Bukele, views Bitcoin as a route to economic liberation. In October 2022, Bukele emphasized Bitcoin's significance, remarking, El Salvador is the epicenter of Bitcoin adoption and hence of economic freedom, financial sovereignty, and resistance to censorship. Boedo highlighted the importance of building ties with El Salvador, a nation with extensive experience in the Bitcoin industry. Argentina is a pioneer in technology, and the CNV wants to work with the industry efficiently and create appropriate regulation, Boedo said. He added, I want to highlight the experience of El Salvador when it comes to the world of crypto assets. Juan Carlos Reyes of CNAD expressed a similar sentiment, acknowledging Argentina's leadership in technology and expressing a desire to work together to create effective regulations. He stated, we appreciate the approach with the National Digital Assets Commission of El Salvador being an innovative supervisory authority with experience in digital assets and industry. Argentina's interest in Bitcoin has been driven by its ongoing economic struggles. The country has faced triple-digit inflation rates and significant currency devaluation, prompting many Argentinians to turn to Bitcoin as a hedge against economic instability. The CNV's efforts to regulate the digital asset market are seen as a way to provide more security and stability for investors. In April, the CNV introduced registration requirements for digital asset firms operating within Argentina, signaling a move toward a more structured and regulated market. The recent election of Bitcoin-friendly politician Javier Milei as Argentina's president has further bolstered the country's Bitcoin ambitions. Milei's pro-Bitcoin stance and his plans to dollarize the Argentine economy have generated significant interest and optimism within the community. This political shift has provided a favorable environment for the CNV to pursue its regulatory goals. In a related development, Argentina's Foreign Affairs Minister Diana Mondino announced in late 2023 that the government was preparing a decree to legalize the use of Bitcoin and other digital assets for payments under certain conditions. This move highlights the government's commitment to integrating digital assets into the national economy. The potential cooperation between Argentina and El Salvador could pave the way for significant advancements in Argentina's approach to Bitcoin. By learning from El Salvador's pioneering efforts, Argentina aims to create a more regulated and secure environment for digital assets. This collaboration is expected to benefit not only the Bitcoin industry, but also the broader Argentine economy by providing innovative solutions to ongoing financial challenges. The news of Argentina's discussions with El Salvador has been well received by the Bitcoin community. Many see this as a positive development that could lead to more widespread adoption and acceptance of digital assets in Argentina. The potential collaboration is also expected to enhance the regulatory framework, making it easier for businesses and individuals to operate within the Bitcoin space. Adam Dubov, director of Ichimoku Fibonacci, expressed some concerns about Argentina's new legislation potentially discouraging individual custody of Bitcoin and digital assets. However, He acknowledged that effective regulation is crucial for the long-term success of the industry. As Argentina looks to the future, its partnership with El Salvador represents a significant step toward embracing the potential of Bitcoin. By learning from El Salvador's successes and challenges, Argentina aims to create a more robust and secure environment for digital assets. All right, and then last, I did want to highlight this week's featured post on the Bitcoin Fortress Substack. And again, I'll include links to all the articles we reviewed today in the show notes, along with a link to the blog post. This one is called The Government Crackdown on Bitcoin Privacy Tools, a call to uphold decentralization and privacy. So please check it out. And if you like it, go ahead and subscribe. It's free. I do allow subscriptions now if you want to support me, but all of my content continues to be free because information wants to be free. And with that, thanks for listening to the podcast. If you enjoyed the show, please like and leave a comment. Also, don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss an episode. I like to listen on Fountain, where I can earn stats just for listening to my favorite podcasts, and you're probably listening to it on there right now. You can also follow my Substack. It's at bitcoinfortress.substack.com. And on socials, I am only on Nostr. My NPub is included in the show notes. And with that, I will talk to y'all next week. Bye-bye.